Hello everyone, I'm Silverraptor and welcome to Wargame Red Dragon, because Warno is just on the horizon, and yes, I will be playing it, and I'm going to try to do a little bit of a countdown if I can get enough games, since the nations in Warno are going to be USA, West Germany, France, and Britain versus East Germany and the USSR. I decided I'm just going to give those six nations a spin and a bit of a countdown until Warno comes out. And for this game, I'm going to be starting off with an East German border, or East German deck. I was starting to read the title of my deck. So it's just a deck in question of what I have, and I will be using it in the game in just a little bit. So this is the game that we're starting, and as you can see, I have queued up an East German game, where I will be pairing up with Sally 007 and Old Guard Soldier, and I will be against the one and only Vulcan, who himself is doing his own countdown until Warno, as well as this Stylard guy, and Death Awaits You 8. So that's going to be somewhat ominous. So in this position, I'm going to be actually taking over the left side between Center and Gregory. I am also going to be sending this Hind Mi-24D, which actually has some recon sniper squads in it, over around to try to sneak around the enemy side on the right. And in the main bit, I have all of my troops moving up forward to try to go and secure Silver completely. And it's on Highway to Seoul, and a lot of people like this map, and I am going to be frank, and I just want to say I don't like it. I really don't like this map, but I was able to join Vulcan's game. I was a little too late, so I wasn't able to get on his team, but that's fine. I'm going to be able to try out against Vulcan as best I could. The KA-52 is able to spot a whole bunch of stuff that is coming, including some Patriots, but he's going to have to back off. I guess the Patriots are indeed off. But at the start of the game, I don't know why Old Guard Soldier has his UAZ so close. I see he's going over there. For me, I'm going to test to see how far I can go down this highway with some SPW 40As. And these actually have a pretty good machine gun that's good to do damage against infantry and vehicles. And when I say vehicles, I've got a V150, which has one front armor. Two of these things were able to completely destroy that right off the bat. And so I'm going to try to move these up into the forest to see if they can spot. They see that there's a whole bunch of stuff is indeed coming down the highway. So Old Guard Soldier does know to be aware of that, but he has a TDU, so the big stuff should be able to stop it. But hold on, there isn't even an M1A2 Abrams as well. So it looks like the T-80U's reflex missiles were able to get into effect. Another couple of missiles are flying. They do actually hit another Ontos. In the meanwhile, I'm getting all set up over here. Got a Strela 10M coming over here as I unload my LSDR 40s over here. I have a couple of regular T-72s, and I kind of figured out these are actually pretty good. With only 40 points, they've got 11 front armor. They should be able to kill any APC that comes up. I have my big 25 drop stuff here because I saw that the enemy does go in. It does get shot down by the number of Patriots, so I have no idea how effective that actually was. Anyways, continuing my thought. T-72, able to kill most of the APCs with autocannons, and it has 4 HE, so it can provide excellent fire support for my infantry as it moves forward. And I have a BMP-2 with its autocannon right here, ready to go. And I'm just unpacking, getting ready to put my front line into center. In the meanwhile, looks like my Hind is somewhat in position. I know they're going to move it soon, but I guess he got to the position before I was able to give it actual order. They only did it about halfway because I didn't want to completely commit and forget about it entirely. MiG-25BM from Old Guard Soldier does manage to take out a Gepard, but he does get hit by a Patriot. Lives to tell the tale, but he's going to be out for a little while. I have unloaded my infantry, the Spelllock. I'm really terrible at pronouncing this. The Special Leclerc. I am so sorry to any German who was watching this. But anyways, got a couple of these guys to be able to provide very good support. They see that there is indeed a couple of M113s, 5-point trucks at death. Out here, they actually haven't gone into the forest. Looks like Death Awaits You is against me at the moment. In the meanwhile, my Mi-24D actually shot something down. What is it? Actually shot and killed, looks like a PVAD. So that was actually really lucky. The Yak B and the Fleta missile, point blank range Fleta missile, was able to kill that because it jumped right on top of it, was unable to see that helicopter at the start. In the meanwhile, I moved up a T-72 S1 with its, okay accuracy in order to shoot at that. But I immediately recall it back after a missile flies in so it can hide into the forest area here. Hind comes over here, but they are aware of its position because it did kill that PVAD. So I'm going to try to move it closer to try to get to Sheraton. So my eyes are on it. And in hindsight, I should have actually let it go, dropped it off sooner. I just thought I could get a little bit closer to Sheraton than where I did. So I'm trying to get to like one of these forest lines here. But as it starts coming over here, it actually comes head-on right into a DAP. 2 Stinger Cs right to the face. It doesn't stand a chance. So lost my recon squad as well. And bringing forward the T-72s, as well as the LSTRs, and the light Schutzen, so I can have some long-range ATGM support to take out mainly APCs and light armored vehicles. LSTR-40s are moving up so that they can engage with anything with their Igla missiles, as well as the light Schutzen, as well as these things, which I admit they're actually pretty good for stunning ground targets. So if you use it for more like a ground support role with the capability of maybe stunning the helicopter, but don't focus on the stunning the helicopter part, it's actually a good light assisting vehicle for fire support. And here comes its vehicle that appears. Looks like a AMX from Death Awaits You. The Meteor's missile from the Lake Schutzen does indeed take that out. And it looks like there's another vehicle, looks like the M113 right here. And the Light Schutzen got hit by a tank shell, and so they're going to have to back up a little bit as I reorganize my vehicles around a bit. And meanwhile, on the right side, it looks like Selly is going up a headlong against Vulcan himself. There's 3 people over here, and I'll admit I'm a little rusty at this game. I should have been a lot more aggressive, especially early on, but I was nervous. I am rusty at this game. I could feel it. And, yeah. Also, I let Old Guard Soldier know, hey, your recon squad wasn't here. So, I actually brought in a Smirch, the BM, and I'm putting this over here, just doing a little bit of cluster artillery to see if I could get the Patriots that have fired there. And this is why I mainly hate this map. I brought in Reserve Schutzen. Unfortunately, they're getting ripped apart by the enemy Bradley and the M1A2 Abrams due to the fact that they just came down this road. The good news is I brought the Reservist Schutzen first, because that kind of alerted me that my Flam Tor was kind of in the crossroads, and I'm just like, oh, that's not good. So I unloaded all of my Reservist Schutzen, and I'm just sending the SP-152Ks to see if any will make it into the forest, as well as the Reservist heading over to the forest line. I sent the SPW-40 forward to see if I could sneak around and find the enemy. They ran into a pack of Jaegers, so they weren't able to do their job there. So they're guarding this pretty well. Looks like Stylard Strum Sauce is going to be taking out all the Reservists as they try to go across. And they're going to be picked off. Fortunately, they do come in 50-man squads, and they should be able to waste quite a bit of the M1A2 Abrams ammo right there. And I am trying to take out the M1A2 with my Su-22M4. It's also backed up by the Su-22 seaplane, because I know that they're going to turn on their Patriots the moment they see this. One missile out. It's second out, but does not kill the Abrams. But fortunately, that did turn on the Patriots. One Patriot dead. And looks like a Roland dead? Yeah, Roland dead at the cost of my plane. So, still point-wise, worth it. Again, this is Conquest. I generally prefer Destruction. I don't know. In Conquest, I tend to go more into camp mode than destruction. Destruction I kind of push more. It's weird. I play it differently like that. Enemy is smoking up their Abrams because it did take a hit, so it is damage. My Tor is here ready to help out Old Guard Soldier in case he needs any. As they're going to try to hold back the enemy forces with the Leopard 1A5s, and Martyr 1s are moving up. Moskaya Picotas fire, but unfortunately missed their RPG, and so they're going to be ripped apart by those Martyr 1s as they move up. TADUs are going to have to try to stop up those forces moving forward. Light Schutzen have managed to come up against some Chasseur 85s and moving up the LSTR 40s in order to cover them from any helicopters or what have you. I have the T-72s. I thought I was going to need to defend them in case there's anything here, but I guess I should have moved them more over here to help engage the actual enemy. But I did move up these things to help provide fire support against the infantry right there. So the Light Schutzen are engaging their PKM against the Chasseurs. As they do that, I just see that they're taking up the 5-point trucks. There's a couple of tank stuff here, as the SPW-80 is also trying to engage the Chasseurs as well. I did lose one of the fire support vehicles, and this is actually taking up the Light Schutzen here, which is going to return fire with its Metter's missile. BGS is also engaging, and just kind of a little skirmish action. AMX took a head hit from the Light Schutzen, but it did still survive. AMX 40 is moving up. Looks like it's going to be required to bring it to reinforcements, and my reservists are actually getting into the forest. Well, most of them did. These guys are actually going to die. And I am bringing some artillery from my, well, I mean, not artillery, mortars, with the mortar support right there. And they're just going to engage right onto the Chasseurs in order to take them out. Looks like I lost the LSTR 40s from whatever the enemy had there. My reservists actually managed to find the Chasseurs that they're trying to move up into the forest. They're going to hold their ground and try to do as best they can, but they are reservists, so they only have one of the machine guns. They don't have light machine guns in order to go with them. I'm moving up the SPW 152 so that they can get their PKTs in to try to stun up the Chasseurs. Reservists are actually getting mortared by the enemy as well. And I'm going to try to take out the Chasseurs to keep this position open for me. Again, I have the LCR 40s ready to shoot down with any infantry. And I brought some BMP2s containing some Mach-Schutzen 90s in them. And I decided to try to drop them back further so that they don't run across and get killed. And I remember to do that part of the time. Half of my stuff that I brought in just got picked off on this damn bridge, and I'm really salty and upset about that. That's why I don't like this map. The troops don't come in like I wanted them to. AMX-10 is, again, shooting at my SPW-80, but it is the one that the Light Schutzen shot at earlier. And the SPW-80 is also engaging that, but it looks like it kind of lost line of sight. Reservists are again still shooting at the Chasseurs. 5-point trucks of death are moving up. Light Schutzen say no with their Metter's missile, and they bring in more of the fire support stuff. And the reservists are going to hold their ground. I moved them down into this forest. They actually have a little bit of a defensive boost from what they're being shot at. The SPW-80s are actually going to be opening up with their machine guns against the Jaegers that are firing back at my reserve Schutzen, forcing them to move back. Light Schutzen take out the AMX-10. Take them out just fine. The Light Schutzen here are kind of damaged, but over here's the really exciting part. It's just reservists going toe-to-toe against the Chasseurs as best they can. The Jaegers are trying to move up, but the SPW-80s are actually running out of ammunition because I'm trying to use their machine gun fire support enough. I actually killed one of the Jaegers. I kind of forgot about the Mach-Schutzen 90s at this point. Again, I am pretty rusty at this game. The reservist Schutzen, I'm just calling them the reserve units, the reserve troops, still trying to hold off hope, try to take out the Chasseurs, as I decide to back them up with my mortars. Direct fire mortars are going to be landing right on top of the Jaegers and the Chasseurs, stunning them up, definitely panicking them up. And looks like an artillery piece is going for this clump of trees here. Can't say reservists aren't stubborn. So it looks like Sally managed to take out a leopard with his Muskaya Bakota. He's going to have to retreat them because they are badly hurt as well. And as you can see, again, more of my reinforcements have come in, but I missed where they were coming, and they are, of course, going to take the Bridge of Death, which it was very, very annoying. My mortars are actually going to be countered already, but it doesn't look like they have very accurate artillery pieces, as they're not getting anywhere close to where my mortars are. Looks like the chasseurs actually died off, as artillery is landing right on top of the Jaegers, who are actually setting in fire as well. So they are so panicked up and possibility to be stunned at any moment. And as you can see, my reinforcements are being shot up to hell. And they're not going to get across the bridge anymore because they've now created a roadblock. So this bridge is effectively going to pile up with troops as it goes on. I realized this with these things, so I moved them down. And they're actually going to hang out here to provide backup fire support in case the enemy tries to push through Dmitri. The artillery continues to rain down, but I did move my mortars just in time. My SPW-40s do see that the Jaegers are moving over to the forest here, maybe to try to counteract my enemy forces. And I really should have moved my T-72s over to provide better fire support. But the enemy has some AMXs. This looks like a Eurocorps deck that I am fighting. Mortars are coming up, and I'm trying to put smoke so that I can cover the Machutes and 90s as they move up. Things are going to try to move up to shoot back at the Machutsin, but this allows my Lechutsin, DMP2s, and everything to just open up and hit the enemy target, force them back. More mortars are trying to come in on top of the Jaegers here, as the reservists are still firing. Not even halfway through their ammo reserves of their main AK-47s. Looks like the enemy's finally getting tired of them and is traveling artillery on top of them. And my Machuten finally are coming and say, enough of this charade, we're just going to take out these Jaegers. And I'm just going to leave these reservists here to just kind of unpanic themselves as the Machuten finally take forward of this forest position. And this is where I should have kind of realized I have a toehold into this forest. I don't realize this until like halfway through the game, and bring in a CV way too late to make too much of a difference. Anyways, the AMXs I saw actually went into this forest here. And as you can see, the chasseurs are firing back, and a lot of AMXs actually died because this is the Smirch. I thought if I Smirch here, they'll take a lot of damage, and that gives just enough damage that my Lechutsin with their Meteor's missile can kill any of the vehicles that try to retreat, and that is indeed exactly what did happen. So everything went according to plan. Now, the enemy brought in a lot of artillery and fire support as my Machuten somehow got spotted into this forest, so they actually don't live very long. And that Dard IVM is moving up as I moved up a couple of T-72s to try to hold that area. And Dards are going to try to guess where the light shoots are, but miss. As looks like Old Guard soldier try to shoot down the Dard, but failed to do so. And as you can see, there's a lot of artillery happening. Smirch is going to try to counter the artillery. Actually does counter the artillery right here. This is not me, though. I think this is Old Guard soldier smirching up the area. Let's see. Who else has a smirch? Yeah, Old Guard soldier was the one who do so. So they're bringing in a lot of artillery. T-72 is able to kill that off. And I'm bringing in, smoking out more areas. And I think I was planning to get the Machuten to move up as the Dards again move forward to drop their bombs. The Lechutsin get spotted, and they die before they can get their missile to come off. T-72s are going to move forward and try to occupy this forest. And again, this would have been a perfect opportunity for me to move up, as well as move my Machuten up. Again, I am very rusty. I moved up my reservists to try to see if I could spot anything. They actually are veteran due to how much they've been firing, and I brought these guys in at rookie. Mirage is coming forward. Looks like, I guess, that's cluster munitions. Yeah, cluster munitions on top of my T-72s, but the T-72s don't actually hold off the enemy forces very well, as they did die from a sustained barrage, and I'm starting to get a little thin on Gregory, but I am holding it. Over on the right side, it's kind of been a stalemate. Looks like they brought in a CV over here in Dmitri, because we do have a UAV neutralizing that as well. As Vulcan's trying to sneak forward the CV Ferns Group into Elena. I don't know how long that will last. I wasn't really paying attention over to the right side very much. Old Guard Soldier manages to bring some seed as the enemy did forget to turn off the radar. Takes out a Roland, but it does get stunned up by the Flak Panzer Gepard, so it is going to be evac. And artillery is also going to be coming forward again because I realized I missed my chance of getting the Machuten across, so I'm going to smoke out here. Try to cover my approach as the Machuten and Leitschützen are going to be moving up to hold this area. Looks like Old Guard Soldier is also going to be artillery here. He was definitely a pretty big pro at this. I also decided to smirch back here because I knew there were vehicles that here from my T-72, so I'm just going to be opening up and just see what I can. Looks like I killed something here. Looks like some transport vehicles and more sparks appear. So I am doing quite a bit of damage to everything into this forest area. They're mortaring where my mortars were firing, so good thing I'm being good at not letting my mortars be caught out where they are. Leitschützen are going to fire their missiles at point-blank range, as the Machuten actually killed the 5-point truck, and we're going to try to kill the chasseurs as much as possible. I'm also moving up the LSVR-40s as well as BMP-2s to try to back them up as well. Auto cannons at point-blank range try to damage up those stunned chasseurs. And again, I'm just trying to slowly push my way into Gregory as I'm trying to remember everything. And I brought in a Tor to try to help me out, and of course he took the wrong road. In fact, I brought 2 Tors, and one had already died. And this one, I decided, try to make it to the forest, see if you can escape. But the M1A2 Abrams was not going to have that, and it just charged forward and chased it down. So, again, I hate this map. I can't tell. And Dart dies as it tries to bring bombs onto his target. And I keep moving my full troops up. I should have moved them back a little bit more and just kind of play it a little more safe, wait for them to come to me. LSPR-40s accidentally opened up on the Jaegers and revealed himself, thus being completely destroyed by all the enemy vehicles as well. So that was unfortunate. Machuten 90s are going to have to go into a retreat. And I am getting a little sin on the ground because all of my reinforcements keep trying to come across this completely insurpassable bridge. A couple of T-72s, much more trucks. You can see these are all reinforcements that I was trying to bring in, and they kept coming around this bridge when I kept trying to bring them in because of this stupid spawn points. So I was like, okay, I learned my lesson. I'll bring it all the way back here and then see if I can remember it. And spoiler alert, I forget about them for a little bit after they arrive, and then I just like, oh yeah, here they are. So that's why I don't like Highway to Seoul. Machuten are going to be staying here, engaging the Jaegers. They're just going to be a sword in the side. And I think this is about the point that I kind of realized, wait a minute, if I bring in a CV and take Gregory, I'm pretty good at holding off the enemy from pushing forward. So that's what I'm starting to think about doing. Looks like a Bertino's moving up. I guess he's going to try to spot where that enemy CV is, and he actually does. At least it's moving. I don't know if he killed it. Etendars are moving up, dropping cluster and regular bombs. The cluster doesn't hit any vehicles. The regular bombs perfectly hit where the Machuten were and killed them. So that was unfortunate. And my Tors that I brought in would have destroyed those planes. Anyways, over here we've got T-64Bs and T-64 engaging their long-range ATGMs against a Fuchs Milan. I mean, when you are literally engaging the Fuchs Milan at its optimal targeting range instead of, you know, using your main cannon instead, I would have probably just charged my T-72 forward instead. But hey, he got it with a severe missile. Actually, that's amazing. I don't think any of my ATGMs from tanks have ever hit. I've been disillusioned by it from the years of playing Wargame and almost never hitting with those ATGMs. So, anyways, so much lamenting. We've got a Raven flying overhead, so I have been good and been keeping my Tor's radar off, but it has been firing, as you can see, at different planes that fly over. Tor actually has 7 HE, so it can actually one-shot if it gets a critical hit on any plane that flies. MiG-31 firing its missiles at the F-15. Actually, one of them hits, but it looks like the MiG was shot down, probably from the combination of Patriots and the other F-15, and I was bringing up my own MiG-29 air superiority fighters to try to assist out in the fighting. Bringing another Smirch because, again, there was a lot of vehicles that were here, and amazingly, suddenly something exploded, and they lost Gregory, giving us a +2 advantage because we just secured Elena as well. So we're now actually starting to win this. And I said, hey, that Smirch was pretty good. And I think that also reaffirmed, hey, I should bring in a CV. And I learned my lesson. Here are the 2 tours that I originally wanted to order, not dead, as they had to be brought all the way back here, as I'm reminded that this is what I wanted to try to take on that stupid Ettendard. KTs are being pushed back, M1 IP Abrams is actually also being chased out by the T-80Us with the reflex missiles. Kylo's trying to move up into the forest. I think the T-80s are trying to get range on them. They missed their shot, and they have to retreat from an ATGM that is flying their direction. ATGM does miss it. There is a longbow. Unfortunately, I had no idea how much AA was here. Otherwise, I would have taken my 21 bis, MiG-21 bis, and try to shoot down that longbow. But I wanted to make sure that it would survive, or at least succeed in killing the longbow. And if there was a lot of AA, it wouldn't have. BMP-2s are engaging riflemen 90s. It takes too long for them to engage their autocannon, so I'm going to have to try to retreat here and try to rely on these BMP-2s to try to secure it. As all of my reservists have arrived in the SPW-152K, the riflemen do actually get that BMP-2, so that is unfortunate, as I'm starting to bring up mortars in order to smoke out and begin a charge with all of my reservists, with the tours getting ready. This is kind of a bait. I'm trying to bait out planes. I'm trying to get the tours to shoot down any planes and try to kill the reservists. But I don't want the tours to be where they start in case they try to bomb where the reservists came from. Rifleman 90s made the stupid mistake of actually trying to come out into the open to shoot the BMP-2s. BMP-2s rip them apart with their excellent autocannons. And that is done. And just as I start beginning to move forward, the artillery comes down and does a lot of damage to my reserve shoots in. And they actually spread out their artillery all around, so they did a really good job. Mirage is coming up. My tours are on. Engage, fire, take out one Mirage. They did their job correctly. I don't care if I lose these reservists. The idea is to try to get their planes shot down out of the sky, as well as trying to recon by fire. Reservists, when they're panicked, move very slow, so the SPWs are actually in the lead. They're engaging with their PKTs against these M113s, and they're actually doing quite a bit of damage. They actually brought a replacement CV, and the M1A2 Abrams is again firing, but nothing is ready to capitalize in taking out the Abrams, as we are at a +2 still, even though they recaptured Gregory. And Chasseur, they're moving up. They're going to try to stop our forces, but they're actually engaging with the machine guns because the SPWs are engaging from so far away. Artillery has been recorrected to try to shoot where my stuff is trying to cross. I'm trying to still see if I can bait out any more planes, as I'm going to try to bring in more reinforcements. And here is the CV that's going to be coming up for Gregory. Because I do have confidence that I should be able to keep any enemy forces from advancing this way. Looks like Old Guard Soldier is going to be bringing in artillery himself to help me out. He's been really, really on the spot. Really good guy. Definitely kept us in this fight. Panzer Grenadiers with Martyrs are trying to move forward, but looks like there's the combination of the Mi-28 and the KA-29TB. They're going to be able to hold back the enemy force here on this side. So again, this is just me pushing against the enemy force in Gregory. As you can see, the enemy is doing quite a bit of damage, and no more Mirages have actually come forward. So it looks like they're relying mainly on their artillery. I think... No, Old Guard Soldiers using the Smirch to try to hit the artillery pieces. That was a direct hit. Ooh, perfect. Looks like he actually killed an artillery piece. Of course, these look like cheaper artillery pieces, but still anything that reduces the amount of artillery the enemy have is worth it. And as you can see, my reservists are actually starting to completely fall apart. BMP-2s are the only thing that's firing fire support anymore against the AMX-10B and the Chasseurs. So I'm trying to do as best I can. T-72s are actually going to move up, and they're going to take up this front line. They should be able to hold off any enemy force that comes through this forest line area. I have some SPW-40s as well as the Special Klaffler, the recon units. I actually had two SPW-40s here, but I split them up, so I had one separate, and I moved it down to see if I could get in, and the Jaegers were still there, so I was unable to actually get any more info into Gregory. So since they still have a lot of vehicles, I again drop a bunch of smirches here, see if I could kill the enemy target. And something popped, and there was a spark here. Looks like I actually killed an AMX tank. So that's actually good. Reservists are again engaging with the Chasseurs. Only one reservist for now, as the artillery's coming in on the BMP-2s, so they are taking quite a bit of damage. I have these SPW-40As for recon, and looks like artillery's going at where that Smirch is, and that Smirch has survived so far by the skin of its teeth. I don't know if Old Guard knows it's being artilleried, but it looks like it's surviving for now. And I guess the Chasseurs broke off because the reservists are here, and I figured if the reservists are here, that means that this is still relatively safe, as I forgot my CV. I brought in an Mi-24D. He's going to actually drop off some of the recon sniper infantry again, and I'm going to use it to try to sneak around to see if I can, again, get into Gregory, to see if I can spot where the enemy CV is, or at least provide better eyes on what is firing back at my enemy forces. More artillery is coming forward, and it looks like it's trying to go for this area where the reservists are. And the Smirch live? No, the Smirch actually did die. So my Smirch is the only Smirch that's left. Reservists were destroyed. I think they actually got... No, they're dying to their artillery that's landing in their area. So they're just trying to keep that area up. Brought some LSTR-40s forward with their high anti-tank and Iglas to try to hold off the enemy force. And as I move up more of these things to provide fire support, I'm feeling more comfortable to bring up the BMP-2K. And the reason why I'm doing this here is that I feel this is the most secure I have of the toehold into Gregory. I feel like if I try to take this force, I can get easily pushed out, and from the fire support that they have, and I'm just making sure they don't try to push off over here into Gregory as well. And as you can see, I forgot. I'm very rusty at this game. I forgot to unload this troop earlier than I thought. I'm bringing more reinforcements. Yeah, the same road, down the bridge. Lucky days. RPGs are going to engage the AMX-10. I actually think it hit, but the RPG is kind of weak, so wasn't able to deliver a killing blow. As the AMX-10 does kill the reservists, there's only one squad left, and so they got to get their RPG-2 ready to take out the AMX. I believe these are more light Schutzen that I'm bringing forward to try to hold off the enemy force. The good thing about light Schutzen is they are shock trained, so they're able to hold off enemy infantry pretty good. Oh, that's a very risky Su-25T. It did get shot down, and we're back to a neutral point. We are 287 points in the lead with this Conquest game, so we are doing good so far. Not much progress has been made on my team. I'm trying to kind of gain confidence back to myself. My mortars actually ran out of fuel because I've been moving them around a lot, and they're down to 16 shells, so I also need to worry about that. And my FOB is also out of fuel because we've been firing it non-stop with artillery and everything, and it looks like we lost a plane. So it looks like we are starting to get a little desperate. They are managing to push forward. Old Guard soldier flew his MiG-25 and managed to bait out a Patriot missile, but wasn't able to actually shoot it. Oh, he's going in for another pass. Oh, he's hit. I would retreat back that MiG-25. I think his focus is all over the place that he forgot about it, as the MiG-25 is still alive. F-18C Hornet is up, so we're going to need to have some reinforcements. I think more of my stuff did indeed... Oh, here it is. T-72 and the T-72S are, again, going across this bridge. If only half my reinforcements didn't come here, I probably would have been able to take Gregory. But, again, they get side-shotted, one-shotted, taken out, and I didn't realize it. T-72 actually returned fire and hit something. This also returned fire but missed. And this is stuck on the bridge, wasn't able to get across, as this is also stuck on the bridge. unable to get across. Trying to move the wreck out of the way. Takes a side shot from the M1A2 Abrams and died. So again, more points to the enemy unnecessarily. Yeah. Should have brought this back here. But the good news is, I actually moved up to BMP-2K. I neutralized Gregory, which allowed us to stay at the +0 mark, so the enemy hasn't actually been able to capitalize on being able to finally capturing Elena. And the Akula is moving up. Going to, I guess, finally try to take out that M1A2 Abrams if they can find it. But I guess a Chaparral came forward and fired the missile. Second one did miss the KA-52, so that is good, and they're going to have to retreat for now. Tor is down to 2 HP, as I did send in the Hind to see if I could find where all these artilleries are coming. And as you can see, it's bringing everything in. All the enemy forces try to stop us. It looks like I'm smirching back here to try to get some of the artillery. The Hind is making a suicide run. It's just trying to find any of the artilleries, but does get shot down as they brought in a whole bunch of Mirages to try to stop us. So I am aware that the Mirages do indeed exist. There are cheaper Mirages, but Mirages nonetheless. Artillery's coming here. I'm kind of suspicious as why they're doing that. I do have my chores a little bit forward because I was anticipating some planes coming my way, but I actually going to move these back, try to go against the enemy forces. I'm bringing more recon forward over here because I do plan to try again to get a toehold into this forest, try to hold off the enemy force. And they just got artillery all scattered about. It's like one here, 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 here. They're just so far scattered about. They did a really good job that any Smirch was going to be inefficient in firing it. But I do fire a Smirch over here because they did say that there was a CV somewhere around here, a vehicle CV, or I think a Patriot. So I was going to try to help them out with that. The Smirches is clustering, but it doesn't look like it's actually hitting anything. And no, it doesn't actually hit anything. The good news is, Sally still has supply for my fob. My fob is empty because he's been supplying all of these artillery pieces, and I am perfectly fine with supplying allies. Don't be stingy if the allies can use the supply. Just got to use it smartly. My camp shawarma did move up. I think I saw that some Jaegers were coming across as it went down, but the Jaegers didn't see. And I actually brought a seed plane to shoot down at all the Gepards here, and then followed up because I knew they were going to send the Mirages. I bring in the Mi-29s to shoot down as many Mirages as possible. They're going to be engaging with their missiles, and then they're run out, so I finally start trying to evac them at the last second as they're all out of missiles completely. One gets shot down by a Roland, and the other one does get shot down by a Mirage at the last second, but they did shoot down a number of the planes and destroy a number of seed on the ground. So I don't know if it was cost point effective, but it sent out the enemy's defensive line alert. They did a really good job just dotting so much AA to protect their artillery. This whole area between Fedor and Sheraton and Gregory is just filled with artillery pieces shifting and moving around. So they were definitely really good in the artillery department. VDV-90 are actually going up against Fallschirmjäger 90s. Actually, I'm going to give that a little bit of advantage to the Fallschirmjäger due to the fire support that the Looks are supplying, as Vasiliks are going to try to come up and provide supporting fire. Smoke, actually. So they were trying to push it forward into Elena again. Artillery is going to be moving up. I think because I saw the Jaegers here. They probably saw that my artillery was coming, so they actually are moving up. I saw these Jaegers move, and I thought, hey, that means that this might actually be open. So I actually decided to move this forward, see if I can sneak in. SPW-40 is going to try to hold off the Jaegers a little bit, but the moment the Jaegers stop and actually use their RPG, they should be able to kill it. Or they just artillery it. So, yep, lots of artillery going in. My catch swarm are actually moving into my mortar zone of I had fired. So that is lucky that didn't actually hit. So I'm going to try to sneak in, see if the enemy doesn't actually see, but what do? They run right into a Gepard. The Gepard sees them. I quickly try to turn in. Law point blank range, but the Gepard's armor was just enough to survive the Law, and unfortunately, that's the end of that recon side. So now I'm a little nervous that they might actually try to be pushing here, so I move some of the BMP-2s over here so that they can cover the BMP-2 here, CV from any enemy force that might move forward. Old guard trying to move up as looks like another Smirch. Looks like the replacement Smirch would come up. Sadly has a Smirch. As I am bringing up over here because I saw that there were some vehicles here. And I just wanted to kill off whatever, or damage whatever enemy vehicles were right here in this forest line. Just vehicles, nothing in particular. I just knew that something fired that I wanted to kill. And that last Smirch shell actually killed a CV truck that I had no idea was there. And that gave us another +2 to the point, as just at the same time that Dimitri is indeed captured. So it looks like the enemy is actually starting to begin to push forward because time is out. My light shoots are moving, opening up with their Lecher's missile, taking out with the AMX. T-72s are getting ready to move forward as I have a whole bunch of stuff ready to move up again towards my enemy force. I have replacement mortars ready as my T-72 is ready to open up as the timer does indeed finish. And it's a total victory over Vulcan. Vulcan struck about even. Styler did a pretty good job. Cost effectiveness. Def Awasi, the guy I mainly went against, actually lost more than he won. And I didn't do so well. But I'm going to bank on the fact that half of these points were because they drove across the Bridge of Death. And had that not happened, it probably would have been a lot better for me. But anyways, it was kind of a stalemate. I was a little bit probing and such, but that Smirch really did pay off to help our enemy forces. We all held our own. The lines didn't move too much, and it was trying to shake off the rust and get ready for Warno. That's the whole point of this, having fun. And as you can see, the light shooting actually did quite a bit, taking out a lot of the vehicles that they had. Seaplane killing everything. Mortars killing quite a bit, and the Smirch just absolutely wrecking, killing the 2 CVs. So this was definitely a hero Smirch here. When stuff is all light armored and such, the Smirch really shines, just clearing out those forest areas. So just going through the kill list to see what I all shot down. Tor killed one of the Mirages. It's amazing, once I brought in those 2 Tors, the Mirages actually stopped appearing over on that left side. And as you can see, this Abrams was just a nightmare. Look at how many kills that this fireman actually killed. Just stuff after stuff after stuff. Abrams, 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 Abrams. This is all across the damn Bridge of Death. Abrams. And Abrams for the Tor. And Abrams, 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 Abrams. Abrams, Abrams, Abrams. All my tanks, reinforcements, just constantly killing it. Well, that was East Germany. I'm going to try to get games with main deck nations USSR, USA, Britain, France, Germany. Thought I said that in the beginning, but just to say it again. So anyways, I hope you all enjoyed that. Please like, comment, subscribe, and look forward to Warno, because I know I am. So, catch you in the next video.